Petition, remove all French words from the cover of the new British passports. The vote to leave the EU means people voted to take back control of their borders, their culture, and their language, whether... Okay, wait, I did not expect to speak French today. Those two phrases have existed as mottos in England for ages. Is irrelevant. French is an EU language and has no place on a UK passport. Sign this petition. Oh yeah. The only problem is every single word you saw in a red box is originally a French word. The petition to remove French words from British passports consists almost entirely of words of French or Norman origin. Except for this one. This one's Italian. Events that took place almost 1,000 years ago caused 30% of all English words to come directly or indirectly from the French. No! That's probably the reaction this guy's having whoever made this. The rabbit hole goes even deeper once you figure out their new passports are made in France. Remember not to bite the hand that feeds you, Britain. How most people see Portugal versus how Brazilians see Portugal. It's literally a key that unlocks a door to an entire continent. I guess Brazilians don't care about becoming Portuguese to live in Portugal. They care about becoming Portuguese to live anywhere else. What's funny about this is I just reviewed a map of which European countries Brazilians are moving to. Obviously, Portugal has the greatest number of Brazilians living in their country, but then once you start calculating the number of Brazilians that aren't actually in Portugal and you start adding up everywhere else, the numbers do get a lot more interesting. There might be 250,000 that live in Portugal right now, but there's over 1 million that chose to not do that. The geography of India summarized in one photo. It's pretty much just them being smashed in between China, Nepal, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Bhutan. Let's also not forget about Sri Lanka. We could probably fit them in here too. It really is pretty crammed in here for South Asia. It's kind of a miracle India can even breathe right now. I guess this is also another way to look at it though. It's actually just them beating everybody up. The top 10 boringest states according to me. I'm a European. As somebody from the US, I have to admit, they nailed it. They nailed it a little bit too perfectly. Like, how did they know this much? Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas. But the one I have to agree with most, I'm sorry, but what goes on in Delaware? Like, what even happens here? I have literally been joking about places around the world for 10 years now on YouTube. I still don't have a single meme to refer to whenever Delaware pops up. To be honest, I forget it exists half the time. Delaware is sometimes referred to as the chemical capital of the world, okay? As the most forgettable thing I've ever heard in my life. No wonder I can't remember what to meme about it. I think part of the problem is it's the second smallest state. Of course, we all remember the first small state, Rhode Island. Nobody remembers the second, though. It's also not the least populated either, so again, there's nothing to talk about there. How many people from Delaware even watch my channel? Delaware is literally down here at the very bottom. More people from Alaska watch me. Okay, now I don't feel too bad about joking about their state. I feel like it would have made some changes, maybe took off Tennessee or Kentucky and included like Idaho or Wyoming. Regional pizzas. We have New York thin crust topped with cheese, Chicago deep dish, and Philly thick and square, St. Louis terrible crust covered with shame, Detroit American tire covered in cheese, and California's just on fire. Finally, we have the Ohio Valley square crust topped with the tears of whoever made it, Texas which just is an old boot covered in ants. Finally, Boston, a plate of tacos. The wrong recipe, but they're too stubborn to admit it's not pizza. Personally, that's why I love Ohio Valley pizza. Love the salty tears that come with it without any additional charge, I might add. I feel like I've already placed my battle flag when it comes to best pizzas. It's New York, no question about it. I'm sorry. It really is the best. I'm sorry. You can't beat it. NATO and the United Nations asking, what you got there? The German Space Force saying, a light space frigate. Meanwhile, that definitely does not look like a light space frigate to me. Seems like it's on the verge of possibly destroying entire planets. Apparently, Germany is considering building a Death Star or something. Germany has just opened an orbital defense HQ. The German military have raised eyebrows after enlisting the dark side to help with their headquarters. Why would they do this? Who thought this was a good idea? I'm sorry, Germany, but you're like the one country that can't do this. I know it's all fun and games, but the original concept of the stormtroopers were literally based off of No Germany. This is how you just freak people out. Oh my goodness, guys, have we found it? There's a city in Latvia called Ogre. We actually have images on the ground of what this place actually looks like. So this is where Shrek was based off of. How did it take me so long to realize this? I always knew Shrek was actually Latvian. Please just tell me there's at least one swamp here. That's what I need to know. If you ever feel useless, just remember that Albania has a national basketball team. One of the greatest quotes from Socrates ever made. Albania has, however, competed at Eurobasket twice. It's just been quite a long time since they've done that. What is Eurobasket? Is that like Eurovision? Why is this the first time I've ever heard about this? This is pretty interesting. Why doesn't the NBA champion face the Eurobasket champion? Would it not be close or what? Oh wait, NBA teams have an overall record of 75-16 against EuroLeague teams. Oh. Countries which have special hand gestures. Albania has the crossed hands, symbolizes the double-headed eagle on Albania's flag. Oh yes, good point. Turkey has the gray wolf salute. This comes from Turkic mythology. Ukraine has this salute. This symbolizes the Ukrainian coat of arms. Finally, there's the Serbian three-finger salute. Symbolizes the Holy Trinity in Serbian Orthodox culture. The only problem with this stuff is just be careful where you do it. That's a big one. Don't just go around doing these hand gestures anywhere you are. I had no idea countries had their own gang signs. Favorite artist announces world tour. Not coming to Australia. Okay, this does really trigger me. This brings up an all too famous world tour map. I mean, even when they do include Australia, it barely satisfies the definition of world tour. But without this place, it's just ridiculous. You gotta go to at least like 4 different continents. That seems reasonable. To say it's a world tour, go to 4, preferably 5. You can't just say North America and Europe. That's not enough. I want to be that one band that plays for the island of Madagascar. The whole crowd just looks like this. New video game is just dropping, and I've got to admit, I'm pretty excited about this one. You can play as the Aztecs or apparently the Spanish conquistadors. Well, yeah, I think these memes are going to be going pretty hard over the course of the next coming months. Sorry, but the human sacrifices will stop. Yeah, that's pretty much a summary of this whole time period. The entire nation of Spain's policy on their colonies. Just have them be your waifu. Apparently the game was just you playing as the Aztecs, and then all of a sudden they changed it where you can now play as the Spanish conquistadors as well. I gotta wait till 2025 to play this though. And you are known for, the entire nation of Denmark says, handball, Lego, Unity? How about inventing Sweden? No. How about literally nothing? Oh, no. No, this cannot be. Is Denmark the equivalent to Delaware just in Europe? I mean, usually I resort to just referring to Lego when Denmark comes up, but it doesn't really get any deeper than that. There's even like memes about it, like Drew whenever Denmark comes up, and it's just Lego. I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah, and then their whole experience during WW2. Wait, no, I've got some things, because then occasionally I talk about Greenland. Okay, Denmark, you're alright. Also, I just learned recently, all citizens in Denmark are required to have a bank account. Indian Space Agency. I made a Mars satellite with a tiny budget and launched it on time with no errors. Meanwhile, the Indian military, yeah, I guess most of their money is going to the space agency, and even then, I guess it's not enough. But they don't need much to make it work. Unfortunately, India doesn't have a perfect track record in space, but they're still doing pretty good. Russia would survive a nuclear war with Great Britain because we are much larger in population. Meanwhile, Russian population density, yeah, it's all just kind of right here. And I've talked about that many times. Siberia is just like vast emptiness, especially the further you go into the northeast. I feel like arguing about who can survive a nuclear war is pretty useless though in general, because at the end of the day, we all ain't gonna survive. We invented the Pilsner. Mine. We invented the sausage. Mine. We invented the schnitzel. Mine. Thanks for the gold. Wait, that's mine. This is the way Germany's been handling some things throughout their history. Unfortunately for them, there would also be a failed Austrian artist that they would claim ended up going into politics. That was definitely one guy you shouldn't have said mine to. I will unify the continent, says the EU, and I will help you bear the burden with my economy. You have my armed forces, says France, and you have my resorts, says Spain, and my debt, responds Italy. Thank you, Italy. That's definitely necessary. The EU is going to need all of these things in order to function correctly. This is absolutely necessary, Spain. Good job, though. Wait, what is Greece going to give then? The current Prime Minister of Hungary told the Russian leader Putin that the side that is attacking will suffer more losses than the side that is defending. He basically could have just said, hey, naval landing in France would cost you too many lives, and that would have overall been around the same message. Yeah, thanks for the advice. You know, this guy stayed up all night playing Risk when he came up with this realization. He's like, I have to tell the world now. This guy walking by the urinals comes up right directly next to this dude. Czechia is Central Europe. We're much closer culturally to Austria and Germany than countries in Eastern Europe. And yes, they definitely just have to tell the world that. I don't know why they don't want to be closer to their Visegrad brothers over here. Looks like they're trying to jump on the German-Austria train instead. Say the line, Bart. Prague lies further west than Vienna, therefore we cannot be in Eastern Europe. Yay! I guess Czechia at this point is pretty much just given up. Even if they continue to say the line, they're forever going to be considered Eastern Europe. Americans, no! No, you can't make alcohol at home. That's illegal. Meanwhile, 12-year-old Balkan presentations. Oh yeah. Give this kid the Nobel Peace Prize. This man's doing great work. In fact, he actually might be the one to finally unite the entire Balkan region with all this information. He will do what has been seen as impossible. And big thanks to the patrons. I am the kidnapper. I oofed Drew since no one paid his ransom. This channel's now run by AI. Australia is real. I'm Argentinian. $20 is a lot. Asher, 200, Chester, Tiny, Reagan's A Nargin, GoodOldRyah, Isaiah, John Denver, KirinoIsBestGirl, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and why am I doing this?